Happy Consolidation Day to those who are currently celebrating, because that's what we're getting in the markets. We're getting a little bit of a consolidation after this crazy run up here, which is of course to be expected. Now today I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, I want to talk about whether this pump will last. I heard something yesterday which puts doubt as to whether this pump will last, and I want to share it with you guys. I also want to talk about new buyers in the market, because there's a whole lot of new buyers in the market which are pushing this price up. And I want to talk about how sustainable those buyers are and whether they're going to continue to push the price up. So if that sounds good to you, it's going to be a very quick show today because I've got to get onto a plane to Dubai. Let's get the show on the road, guys. Happy Consolidation Day. We are consolidating around 92,775, and I guess we can't really complain. You can't complain after you've gone up from 84,907 in 2 daily candles. You've gone up to a high of 94.5. So I guess we should just accept that this is going to be a consolidation. You can see the same things happening on the S&P 500. There's not much going on here. I guess for the S&P 500, it's a little bit of a different story. And the reason why on the S&P 500, it's a little bit of a different story is because when it comes to this trade war, no one actually knows what's happening. Yesterday, Trump said he was going to be more lenient on China. Then all of a sudden, he's not going to be more lenient on China. So you can see, I mean, it's a little bit of a, I don't know, what do you call it? I mean, here we call it a bit of a shit show. I don't know if that's an international term. Josh, can you fix my screen here? There's like a line going down the screen. While Josh is trying to fix the screen here, yeah, you can take your porn off my screen. Thanks. While he's doing that, you guys obliterate the like button. If you're not already subscribed, you're not already part of the Banter fam. Josh, what are you doing? Okay, so you can subscribe. Apparently, one day you guys are going to get us to 1.161 million. One day it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen. Let's quickly just cover the trade war. So, as you can see, markets are kind of like undecided. And the reason why they're undecided is because, you know, this is exactly what Ken Griffith says. He says, like, the trade war has evolved into a nonsensical place. On the one hand, you get Trump who's saying, look, you know, he's going to be more lenient on China. Then he denies being more lenient on China. I mean, this tweet says, just in the past 8 hours alone, reduction to 50% tariffs on China. Then the White House said, never mind, back to 145. Auto tariff exemptions. Then there's no auto tariff exemptions. The market's basically not even responding to trade war things anymore. They're kind of saying, look, we don't know what's going on anymore. We're not going to respond to these trade war things. And I mean, just listen to this.
No, I haven't brought it down. I haven't brought it still 145. I haven't brought it down. I said it's a high tariff. It is a high tariff, but I haven't brought it down. It basically means China's not doing any business with us, essentially, because it's a very high number. So when you add that to the price of a product, it's, you know, a lot of those products aren't going to sell. But China.
And it's, I mean, what's going on now is a big problem. Forget about the markets moving up and down. That's one problem. There's another problem which people need to start thinking about, and that is empty shelves. And I heard the CNN interview, which is actually worth listening to.
But get this, we are also reporting today that a group of CEOs of the top American retailers, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's, had a private meeting with Trump on Monday. They had plenty to say, but there was one warning that stuck out. Empty shelves, they said. Empty shelves in American stores as soon as this summer because of Trump's actions.
What is that meeting in the Oval Office on Monday?
So there was a meeting in the Oval Office, and they did warn him that there may be empty shelves. Why? Because China is apparently furloughing some people. Basically, the workers are basically being furloughed, number one. And number two, no one can order anything because you don't actually know what the tariffs are around bringing them in. So you don't actually know if it's viable to bring in. So right now, as you can see, S&P 500 pretty much doing nothing, waiting for some kind of outcome in this trade war. I think Trump has lost his clout when it comes to trade war announcements. He can announce 100% tariffs, 200% tariffs, 300% tariffs now. It doesn't really matter anymore because the market's kind of going, look, we've come to the realization that we actually don't know what's going on, and we're happy to be at a place where we don't know what's going on. And so that's why right now the markets are consolidating. I kind of wonder whether trade war is actually good for Bitcoin, because as soon as the trade war, good news was announced in the trade war, you had gold coming down, gold consolidating, and yeah, you had gold coming down, and then you had Bitcoin cooling off. Maybe if we get escalations in the trade war, gold goes back up again. Let's wait and see. All right, let's talk more about Bitcoin. So as I said with Bitcoin, no surprise. Let's just quickly change that chart. So no surprise, consolidation around here, which is exactly what you could expect after big candles. I guess the one thing that maybe was a little bit unexpected was this Trump bubble over here. This is, I mean, I don't actually know. Is this the craziest thing I've ever seen, or actually is this something that's really, really, really smart? What happened here was actually kind of like unbelievable. So we get the Trump token was doing really, really, really badly. You can see, I mean, that's what the chart of the Trump token actually looked like. Then there was an announcement made yesterday that if you want to have dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, basically you have to be a top 220 holder of Trump meme coins. Okay, so they've created this leaderboard over here. And if you hold a whole lot of Trump tokens, now here, this guy's holding, is it only 400,000 tokens? Or is it $400,000? No, it's 400,000 tokens. Then what they do is they time weight it. So you buy the tokens, you hold the tokens for a long period of time. And then if you are this wallet, the top 220 wallets land up going to Mar-a-Lago and actually having dinner with Trump. Now, there is a value to this dinner with Trump, right? Like, we know that Trump has in the past charged almost $1 million per person to have a dinner at the White House. And so now what they seem to be doing is they seem to be using this meme coin, giving it some kind of utility. I don't think utility in the SEC sense of the word, but they're giving it some kind of utility, and that is going to get people to buy and actually hold the meme coin. Their mechanics are super smart, giving utility by, like, basically if you lock it up. So lock up your token and you get a time-weighted holding of your Trump tokens. And then if you have the highest time-weighted thing, we should do that here, like a dinner with Run, and then like you have to lock up your Bitcoin or something like that. Anyway, this was, I like this meme, which was actually covered in our Good Morning Crypto newsletter. Apparently, some of you are still not subscribed to Good Morning Crypto. It baffles my mind how this is one of the best reads out there. There's a link below. Go and subscribe to Good Morning Crypto. I think what they're going to do is exactly this. They're just going to keep doing more and more incentives, meet Trump. Actually, what I saw yesterday, which was pretty cool, is that the Melania token also moved. So maybe it's like Melania is going to say, okay, now you guys can come and have dinner with me and Trump, basically, or something like that. Anyway, so that is the story with Trump and Melania. And again, I think some of you still haven't subscribed to Good Morning Crypto. There's a lot in here. One of the things that actually came in here was we're expecting a 𝗬𝗎 announcement next week. If you look at the price of 𝗬𝗎, you see the price of 𝗬𝗎 is ripping. And I told you guys that it would rip, but I think there's going to be some kind of Pokemon announcement around 𝗬𝗎. All the details are actually in Good Morning Crypto. So I really think maybe just go, it's a free newsletter. Just go and click it and it'll get delivered to your mailbox each and every single day. Okay, let's talk about this pump and whether this pump is going to continue. Now, tomorrow, I've got Ben Cowan on the show. Now, I've already shot that show. I shot it last night because I'm flying to Dubai tonight for Token 2049. By the way, if you do want to come to Token 2049, if you are coming, it's a massive, massive, massive event for those of you who haven't been there. We don't really get anything out of this, but if you want to buy a ticket and you want what's it called? A coupon code. I think it's Crypto Banter 10. You get a 10% off. Again, we don't get free tickets here. We don't get anything out of this. But if you do want to join, there's a 10% code off. If you can get it cheaper somewhere else, get it cheaper somewhere else. So I recorded an interview with Ben Cowan last night, which is going to air tomorrow in the same slot as the Friday Banter is. It was probably the best interview that I've recorded with Ben ever. And I've recorded probably 10 or 20 interviews with Ben in my career. This one was one of the best ones that I've recorded. And I think one of the things that really, really, really stuck out for me around in what Ben was saying is, I said to Ben, look, Ben, do you believe this pump? And he said, look, I don't believe this pump. And his base case is actually that we're going to go back and sweep the lows. So he's saying the base case is we go back here and we sweep these lows over here, which is the 74,500 low. And the reason why he says that is he says, if you look at the death cross, we've just had a death cross. Every single time that we have this death cross, we pump we pump after the death cross. So here's a death cross over here, and then here's the pump. Here's the death cross over here, and here's the pump. Here's the death cross over here. Here's the pump. Here's the sweep of the new lows. So he basically says, look, his base case is that actually this is just the death cross pump. And he says it'll probably fail to make a higher high. I guess tomorrow you guys can watch that whole interview. It's an absolutely mind-blowing interview. But his base case is that we're not getting a sustainable pump here. The one good thing though is that we have been comparing Bitcoin to gold, and we've now, if you compare Bitcoin to gold, we've now had a trend breakout on the Bitcoin to gold chart, that's quite a big move. That's been in a downtrend since about here, which is since December. So at least that's in a move. All right, I want to talk about this thing over here, because even though the price is moving up now, the price seems to be moving up on a whole lot of different whales or whale cohorts actually buying Bitcoin. So if you look at this whale distribution chart, what you realize is that a lot of new whales are accumulating Bitcoin. So this is wallets and holders that have lots of Bitcoin in their wallet. So like 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin and 10,000 plus Bitcoin. And these guys are actually starting to accumulate. On top of that, what you're getting is you're getting the ETFs. I mean, just look at this week for the ETFs. 100 million here, 381 million, 912 million. That's almost $1 billion. 917 million, almost $1 billion. So we're getting a lot of accumulation on the ETFs. That's number one. But that's not all. So we also had Coinbase. One of the guys from Coinbase, one of the execs from Coinbase, actually went on CNBC yesterday, and he's basically confirming that sovereign nations are actually buying Bitcoin.
We're going to talk Bitcoin. Take a look at where things stand right now. We want to talk about what's driving this, because we're now back up at 96, almost 90, or 93, almost $94,000. This, of course, we're down at 76,000 was maybe the recent low. I don't know.
76.5, yeah.
76 spot. John D'Agostino is here. He's the head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional. Tell us what's going on in terms of the coupling, decoupling. I don't really know, because there's periods of time where it feels very coupled, then it feels uncoupled, then it feels like it's coupled up again.
Right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be back on. So when we talk about decoupling, we're really talking about neutral negative correlation. And more specifically, we're talking about negative correlation when markets panicking on the downside. Nobody minds correlation when it's upside correlation. So, first and foremost, got to be super careful, right? This is a relatively short-term data set, April. You don't want to assume it's going to persist. I could be making a fool of myself right now, and today it could jump to a one correlation. The other thing you want to be careful about is, even if we understood exactly the reasons, and I'll get into this thing about my position, is I don't have to guess as to what traders are thinking. We're kind of the center of the crypto ecosystem. So when you called me, I made a bunch of calls. And the pools of capital that have been buying during April, sovereign wealth funds, large institutional, long-term duration pools of capital, they're looking at it basically three ways. So he's looking at it and saying that sovereign nations, sovereign wealth funds are starting to buy a whole lot of Bitcoin. So now what you're getting is you're getting this pattern where there's more whales buying Bitcoin. The ETFs are selling in, almost $1 billion a day, and we'll see actually what lands up happening today. Then you've got a new public company that's also been announced. Now, this is effectively a competitor, but there was a good word someone used to describe it. They called it a co-opetition. So it's a co-opetition, which is, it's a new term, but I think it's a very, very, very good term. So what is it? Jack Mallers, who's the founder and CEO of Strike, Cantor Fitzgerald, which is Howard Lutnick's company, which is now run by his son. I think his son's name is Brandon Lutnick. Tether, you all know what Tether is, and then SoftBank have all teamed up together, and they've started a new public company called 21. So this company has been incorporated and initially will hold 42,000 Bitcoin, which is just under $4 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? Now, what is this company going to be doing? You can hear it from Jack Mallers himself.
BPS stands for Bitcoin per share, as opposed to earnings per share. And the other is BRR, which stands for Bitcoin return rate. And my job and what I'm dedicated to do for our shareholders, in which we view similar to our customers, is grow our Bitcoin per share. So we're an operating company. And when you buy a share of 21, in a hypothetical sense, what we intend to do is, let's say our Bitcoin per share is 0.05. Our intent is to be able to grow that to 0.06 Bitcoin per share, 0.07 Bitcoin per share. Where a vehicle like an ETF, your exposure is static. So 21's an operating business, and we will be building Bitcoin products, Bitcoin operative cash flow, and then using the capital markets to accretively grow the Bitcoin on our balance sheet. So we want our shareholders to get wealthier, get richer in Bitcoin terms, and our metrics encourage the market to view us not in fiat terms, in Bitcoin terms, because we're not here to necessarily beat the market. We're here to build a new one and encourage the world to adopt Bitcoin in a sense that we believe it hasn't yet.
But Jack, you already have a Bitcoin product, and it's Strike.
So,
yes. And it's where people can
long
buy,
story
sell.
short, they're basically a competitor company to MicroStrategy. You can see they pretty much said it themselves. They actually put out this thing here, and they said, okay, is this a pure Bitcoin exposure? Yes, which is better than MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy also has a software business. Does it have Bitcoin native operations? I'm not exactly sure what he means by Bitcoin native operations. Existing debt balance, he says MicroStrategy has debt. We don't have debt. Debt collateralization, we don't have debt collateralization. They do. Insider ownership, we have huge insider ownership, and they're saying that Michael Saylor is already diluted. So they've basically published this thing to show how they are going to be better than MicroStrategy. Now, I think important for us to remember a few things. First thing is that this is a joint venture between Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald. Now, for those of you who don't know Cantor Fitzgerald is Howard Lutnick's company. When he went to operate in government, he basically said, look, I'm not operating this company because I'm running in government. And he gave the running of the company to I think his son's 27 years old, right? I think his son's 27 years old. Before he came into government, he took a 5% stake in Tether, right? And the first time that we've ever heard of Tether selling equity, he took a 5% stake in Tether. So it's almost like these guys are turning government into a business, effectively, if you ask me. Anyway, this company is now coming on here. It's called Cantor Equity Partners. You can see what happened to its stock over here. The stock before the announcement was at $10. Straight after the announcement, the stock is trading at $20.79. It's been as high as $22.35. So you can see that this is another massive play. Now, the question is this a good thing or is this a bad thing for Bitcoin? Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing for MicroStrategy? And I think that it is, to put it pretty simply, I think it is a fantastic thing for Bitcoin and it is a fantastic thing for MicroStrategy. And you can see that I'm not the only one who thinks that. Some of the analysts, specifically analysts at TD Cowen, basically said, turning point on institutional investor sentiment around MicroStrategy says the most meaningful validation to date of MicroStrategy's BTC treasury operations. It leaves us incrementally bullish. So this is truly a case of co-opetition. What is co-opetition? It's like when you have competitors, but because you have a limited supply asset, your competitors are actually your friends because they are buying this. By getting more competitors, everybody gains, right? So you don't really care because it's truly one of the only limited supply assets in the world, right? By getting competitors, everybody here lands up winning. The other thing which it does is, and you guys have heard me speaking about this quite a bit, I always said that one of the things that worries me is concentration risk and MicroStrategy actually holding too many Bitcoin. For me, that's always been a big concern. You got Michael Saylor talking about buying up to 10%.
Right, the price is going to go up. It's going to get exponentially harder, and the price is going to go up exponentially higher, and we'll just keep buying. And at some point, you know, if we get to 5% of the supply, Bitcoin's probably going to be $1 million a coin. And if we get to 7.5% of the supply, Bitcoin will be 10 million a coin. And then if I'm lucky enough to grind to 10% of the supply, Bitcoin's going to be 50 million a coin, and someone will be whining that whatever, we have too much Bitcoin, but other people will have $400 trillion of wealth, you know? So our view is it's a ratchet.
So I've always said that if MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor own too many Bitcoin, that creates a huge risk in the market. And I think many big players would actually prefer to stay out of the market. Why? Because if there's one board of directors which can liquidate 10% of Bitcoin supply with one decision, that is an existential threat to Bitcoin. Now, by getting more of these companies, it creates diversification. And that diversification creates a much healthier market structure. So I think net, as much as this is competition for MicroStrategy, I actually think it's a very, very, very good situation. And as much as they are competing, I actually think that this is a friendly competition or a co-opetition. I'd imagine that MicroStrategy's shares, I'd imagine the shares would have gone up today, but I guess because the Bitcoin price has come down, the price of MicroStrategy has gone down today. So I think this is a very, very, very good move. And I think what we're also seeing is we're starting to see a shift. Like we're starting to see sovereign nations, sovereign wealth funds, more of these private companies all in the market buying a limited supply asset. It's probably the first time in world history that something like this has happened, where you're getting these massive, massive companies. I mean, this is 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧. This is like probably Trump's right hand at the moment, you could say. I mean, he's one of the 5 closest people to Trump in the White House. And his company basically is a partner in doing this. There was a tweet, and I don't know if I kept the tweet, but it's something like, it's this tweet over here, which is like, a Bitcoin treasury company with Cantor Fitzgerald's institutional Rolodex and capital market expertise, Tether's profitability and technological expertise, SoftBank's huge war chest and portfolio of companies, and then Jack Mallers' energy and leadership, a serious player just entered the fray. I do believe that. I think one of the things we need to see is if they're going to be as smart at financial engineering as Michael Saylor is. Because I think the one thing that Michael Saylor really, really, really has going for him is that he is... he's a very, very, very astute financial engineer, probably the best in the world. And I think that's something that is yet to be seen. But nevertheless, for us, everything here is good. Everything here is more people buying and holding and locking up a limited supply asset. And I don't think that that's factored into the price. I really don't think that that's factored into the price yet. Cool. So that is the big whales buying. As I said, when it comes to the trade war, not really much happening on the trade war. I think we just have to let this thing carry on riding. If you are joining us at Token 2049, we'll be there, of course, the whole of next week. I'm also playing in that Polo Cup on the. I mean, it's getting really, really, really interesting. I've got to show you this. Hold on. I've got to show you, just so you understand how exciting this is. And remember, I'm a real beginner at Polo. Like, I'm a real beginner. And I'm playing in a cup like this. Holy shit. I'm like, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. I'll send you guys videos so that you guys can see exactly what's happening. Also, just if you guys are keen to learn to trade, so Kyle is running a once-off course. Usually Kyle runs a crypto trading course, and I think it's one of the best crypto trading courses out there. But this time he's actually running a course around trading crypto stocks and commodities. So he's basically combined this because of what's happening with crypto and gold, and because gold is running and because stocks are running. He's made a new course which is around how to trade all 3 of these. Which is I'm going to join this course just because I've been to his other course. And I want to join this course as well. Is there a link to Kyle's course? Let's have this course as well. Now, let's put a link to Kyle's course here. Yeah, put a link here so we can actually join this course for anybody who wants. All right, my friends, I will see you guys again. Well, tomorrow there'll be the show with Ben. If anything happens on the weekend, I'll bring you guys a weekend show. Otherwise, I'll see you guys again on Monday. Until then, trade well, my friends.